Hello and welcome back to another video. I am about Mama Haudipela, and yeah, today I'm doing a different type of video. I thought of doing a sit down video. I don't do enough of this, and I think I should be getting used to doing them just so I can be a little bit more comfortable in front of the camera. But today I just wanted us to sit down and basically just talk about basics of homemaking. Having a homemaker in each and every family is very important for its success, and I think it can get overwhelming once you think about it in the much broader sense. But once you start to break it down into its simplest form, it is actually much simpler, and it can be more enjoyable if you avoid overthinking it and also making it something that it is really not. So today I wanted us to sit down and talk about what all these are. What are the skills that I think are basic life skills that can actually make homemaking so much easier for you? And I think once you learn this as you are growing up, the minute you get to a point where now you have to do this on a much bigger scale and for other people, it just becomes an extension of who you are and not something that is completely new and overwhelming. I think a lot of us find homemaking overwhelming, mostly because we neglected to learn some of the skills while we were growing up. So let's get into the first skill that I think is one of the most important skills that you need in life, and most importantly, when you become a homemaker. Firstly, let's talk budget. I think each and every single one of us, by the time you become an adult, you should be good. Well, not exceptionally good, but you should have some level or skill when it comes to budgeting and money management. It's one of those things that a lot of us tend to neglect, and you find that even as adults, we don't know how to manage our money, we don't know how to manage our budget, and you become an overspender. And when you get to a space now, you have to do it for everybody in the family, and you become overwhelmed managing money. And if you learn from a young age that this is how I manage whatever little money that I have, and by the time you become much older and hopefully have a family, you basically know the basics of money. If you find that budgeting becomes overwhelming and you tend to overspend a little bit, one of the things that I think helped me, especially during that process when we were getting out of debt, was using cash. I think automated systems make it so much easier to overspend, and even if you set up a budget, the fact that you're using a card to swipe it, it makes it so much harder to manage money. But if you try it out in a cash system, that actually gives your mind a different feeling when you're spending money and you're putting it on the counter. It's actually harder to do it than when you're using a card. And for me, it helped me for a little bit until I got comfortable to spending within my means and learning to manage my money more tightly. I don't think I've had an issue of overspending. It was just, when you get to a point where you are comfortable swiping money, it's easier to go over budget, especially on groceries. Grocery is one of those things that I used the cash system in order to keep myself within budget. If you go to the grocery store with a limited amount of money, it is so much easier to stay within budget than if you're using a card. If you're using a card, you could find yourself just throwing stuff in the basket because there's always extra in the cart that you can always swipe at the till. So once you learn how to manage your money at a younger age, and while you're still alone and you don't have to care for other people, it becomes a much easier transition when you become a homemaker to be able to do your budgeting for the family, for the groceries and all the bills, and manage all of that. The second skill that we are going to get into, I think this is a given, it goes without saying, is housekeeping. Knowing how to clean up after yourself, knowing how to iron your own clothes, knowing how to cook for yourself. Housekeeping is much essential for a healthy life and a healthy mind. One of the things that I have found now is with the kids as they are growing now, it's so much harder to teach them how to do housework, mainly because they spend so much time at school. Growing up, we used to use the time after school to learn how to do housework. We didn't have a choice. But now when you have kids that are coming back from school at 4:30, because of all the extra lessons and all the extramural activities that they do after school, there isn't enough time to teach kids how to do housework. But I think each and every single one of us, by the time you become an adult, you should be an efficient cook, you should be efficient when it comes to ironing, and you should also know how to clean up after yourself. Once you know how to do that, then it becomes an extension. Just like I said, all of these are basic life skills that each and every single one of us need on a daily basis to survive. And once you become a homemaker, you just do it on a bigger scale and on a much more important purpose. I know I have mentioned cooking when I was talking about housekeeping, but I wanted to talk about cooking on its own. No one is saying you need to be a chef, but each and every single one of us needs to know how to cook. I remember one day I was having a conversation with my husband and we were talking about death and remarriage after death. And I said to my husband that I don't mind, like one day when I'm dead, that you remarry, but I don't want you to remarry all because you don't know how to cook, or you don't know how to clean for yourself, or you don't know how to cook for the kids. And I've seen it happen in my life, and I think the reason why we talked about that, we were talking actually about how people lose money to new marriages after one of the spouses dies. And it brought up all of these things that I said a lot of men that I've seen while growing up, they lost all of their life savings and their homes because they tend to marry too quickly to people that they shouldn't be marrying, or because they're desperate for somebody to come and look after their kids. And each and every single one of us should be able to do basics like cooking. If you are a man, you should be able to cook for yourself and be able to cook for your family, and also be able to cook for your kids one day when your wife is no longer there. And when we lose basic skills like that, we get to pay for them, big price. We pay big price for losing basic skills like that. So each and every single one of us, by the time you become an adult, I expect you to be able to cook a pasta dish, maybe a rice dish or something, and some kind of protein that you can sustain yourself. So I'm not saying you should be, a 5-star Michelin chef, but you should be able to cook a decent meal. And of course, I don't need to mention that my husband knows how to cook and clean. So I wouldn't marry a man that doesn't know how to cook and clean and take care of himself. So now, let's talk about organizing. As somebody that is obsessed with organizing, I think I'm generally somebody that finds organizing quite easily. And each and every single one of us should have some level of knowing how to be organized. If you don't want to be somebody who's always stressed out and who's always feeling overwhelmed, you need to learn how to be organized. As a young person, when you've got school activities, you've got classes that you take on different days, you need to learn how to organize your books, your equipment for the sports on a sports day. And those skills, if you don't learn them at a younger age, you get to pay the price when you get older. When you become a homemaker, now you have to organize on a much bigger scale. When certain work in your house gets to be done, when you get to go grocery shopping in your home, and what you need to buy for that week, and for what meals you're going to cook for the family. So all of these things are simple things that you do as you grow up, but when you get to become a homemaker, you do it on a much bigger scale. So I love being organized because it saves me so much time. It saves me a lot of frustration. As I've mentioned in many of my videos, I'm somebody who's very impatient and I want to be efficient in everything that I do. I get easily frustrated when I cannot find things, so I want to be organized. My days are normally planned out, mostly like probably a week into going into it, but normally on an evening, I know what I'm doing the next day. I'm somebody that likes to plan ahead like that, and I had to learn to be organized, and I'm glad that it came naturally to me, and it's something that I didn't find overwhelming. But I find a lot of people struggling to get organized, I sympathize with them because you can tell. When I was working, in my previous job, I had so many areas within which I was working. So in 1 minute you're working in one section, and then the next you are flipping back and forth between all of that. So in my mind, I had to learn to be organized in order to function in that environment. And also it made my life so much easier knowing how to organize my days, knowing how to organize my activities, that I know what to do first and prioritize my day in that way in order to avoid feeling overwhelmed and stressed out because you don't know where to start and what takes more of importance than the other thing. Now let's talk about this skill. I think this is one of the skills that a lot of people have lost. The basic skill that you need for life and also for homemaking is knowing how to sew. I'm not saying go and make a full-on garment, but basic things like knowing how to sew on a button properly, knowing how to hem your pants and dresses or stitch them up when you get a hole in your dress. That is something that sometimes just makes so much of a difference. And growing up, I've always been somebody that knew how to mend my uniform. I would never wear a shirt without a button unless I was lazy to do it. But even now as an adult, I can tell you, going to work and you're looking at somebody wearing pants that are oversized that basically just need a hem. They don't need a lot of tailoring to them. And you just wonder, like, do you not care about how you present to society, or is it because of the lack of skills that you feel like it's fine for you to wear a shirt without a button, to wear a skirt that is falling on the side, or something that can just be fixed quite easily? This is one of those skills that are slowly getting lost, and something that is so simple, that is something that everybody should know how to do. Sewing back a button on your shirt is basic, and I think it's so sad that they had to take away classes like home economics that we used to have back in the days, and sewing lessons. We used to have sewing lessons in primary school, but all of these things were phased out, and I think these are the lessons that they should be bringing back into the school instead of all these other gender and identity politics that they're bringing back into the schools. But when you look at simple things like that, that makes a huge difference in how you present to society, that have been taken away from mainstream education. I think it is very sad, and I think that is one of the skills that we need to bring back, and each and every single one of us needs to learn the basics of sewing. Just in your home you've got curtains. Sometimes you buy your curtains, they're too long. Just doing a simple hem on a curtain makes a huge difference in your home. Now you don't have a house that looks like everything looks messy and dirty, or because you don't know how to hem a curtain. So yeah, I won't go too far into that one, but I think it's important that you have the basic sewing skills, just so everybody also in your family looks more presentable and look like you care. One of the last things that I want to talk about, I don't know if I should call it a skill or more of a mindset. The one thing that I think each and every single one of us needs to learn is learn how to serve. More than anything, homemaking is a service to your family, and it's a service to God as well. And each and every single one of us should learn how to serve, not ourselves, but each other. When you get out of the mindset of doing just for yourself and you learn how to serve others, it makes your life much more rewarding and more fulfilling. For me, I get pleasure and excitement for serving for my family and for others, especially the ones that deserve it. There are some people that don't deserve to be served, but serving is something that I enjoy doing. And once we learn how fulfilling it is to serve others, and when you get into the role of becoming a homemaker, it brings so much joy, and to be selfless and to be able to do for others is a wonderful thing, and it's also a gift. I see it as a gift, not just something that we do, for your emotional well-being, for your mental well-being, and also for your spirit. When you see somebody happy from something that you have done for them, it is just an amazing experience. share in the comments any other skills that you think are basic life skills that can definitely be used in homemaking. And I know the list is exhaustive, but I just wanted to share the few basic ones that I think each and every single one of us need, and especially when you become a homemaker one day. Yes, those are the 6 basic life skills that I think we all need to learn in life that will basically make your life easy when you become a homemaker. And even if you don't become a homemaker one day, your life will still be so much better if you learn all of those. And I hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and feel free to like, share and subscribe if you want to see more of these type of videos. I hope to see you all very soon in another video. Bye bye.